Khloe Vance had two dogs she couldn't seem to shake. One was her Alaskan Malamute. The other was me. But I was the one who had clawed my way into her life. The day before our wedding, she got into an accident, racing her car for an old flame. I rushed to the hospital, heart pounding in my throat, but when I looked at her chest, I didn't see the scar that was supposed to be there. My face went pale. Where's the scar from her heart surgery? Her mother shot me a venomous look. What are you talking about? Don't you dare curse my daughter. When has she ever had such a terrible surgery? In that sickening instant, I knew. For 3 years, I had been with the wrong person. The day she was discharged, Khloe brought up calling off the wedding, all for him. Everyone was waiting for the punchline, waiting for me to lose my mind. Instead, I just said, okay. They didn't know I had never loved her. The person I loved died years ago. Hearing me agree so easily, Khloe's expression soured, a flicker of shock in her eyes. I know you're desperate to marry me, and it's not completely off the table. If you sign over the credit for the new design proposal to Leo Sterling, I'll still consider it. I just stared at her. You don't have to do that. Just answer one question for me, and I'll help you. The storm clouds on her face cleared, replaced by a mocking smile. Let me guess. You want to know if I ever loved you? Ethan, aren't you a little old for that? I couldn't care less who she loved or wanted to marry. I had only ever loved one person, and she died in a car crash, saving my life. After she died, her heart was donated. That's why I came to Khloe, transforming myself from the heir to the cold fortune into the pathetic lapdog everyone around her despised. But for me, as long as I could hear my girlfriend's heart beat again, I would have walked through fire. That's not the question. This was the final confirmation. I braced myself and asked, word by word, Khloe, I want to know, did you ever have a heart transplant? Khloe frowned. What are you talking about? She snapped. My heart is perfectly fine. Why would I get a creepy surgery like that? Of course. It was the wrong person all along. My eyes filled with a profound disappointment. I looked down. I agree to call off the wedding. I'll withdraw from the design competition, and I'll make sure the credit goes to Leo Sterling. I paused, looking back up at her, and I hope you two will be happy. My words hung in the air, stunning not only Khloe, but all of her friends. Then came the waves of ridicule. Holy crap, I can't believe it. The great Ethan Cole, heir to everything, is this much of a simp. He'll agree to anything to win Khloe back. He's the king of doormats. Khloe snaps her fingers, and he calls off the wedding, hands over his career. It's almost tragic how devoted he is. Too bad Khloe's heart will always belong to Leo. All right, that's enough, Khloe said, cutting them off for the first time I could remember. She stared at me, her face dark. Ethan Cole, do you have any self-respect at all? You just do whatever I say without fighting for yourself. I say we call it off, and you don't even get angry? I lowered my head, a bitter smile on my face. She was the wrong person. What was the point in fighting? At this point, none of it matters anymore. My desolate expression seemed to strike a nerve. Khloe's eyes widened slightly. A strange frustration flickered across her face as she grabbed my arm. Ethan, you... Khloe, Leo Sterling, who had been enjoying the show from the sidelines, finally spoke up, his voice soft and wounded. Maybe we should step out and give you and your fiancé a moment to talk things through properly? He's not my fiancé. Khloe shot back, and in her haste, she shoved me away. I stumbled backward, the small of my back slamming into a side table. A glass of water slid off the edge and shattered on the floor. A shard of glass flew up, slicing Leo's ankle. He hissed in pain. Before he could even say another word, Khloe's face changed. She dropped to her knees to check his wound, then helped him up. Let's find a doctor. I was still clutching my back, frozen by a spike of pain. As they left, one of their friends, eager to score points, picked up a dirty basin of water from the corner and dumped it all over my head. Don't think just because you agreed to give up the project that you can act high and mighty in front of Leo. Ethan, to us, to Khloe, you'll always be nothing but a dog. Another one jeered. You see how she freaked out over a tiny scratch on Leo? Have you ever gotten that kind of treatment after all these years of licking her boots? Do yourself a favor and just disappear. Don't make it more embarrassing for yourself. The room erupted in laughter. Every word a jab meant to humiliate me. I wiped the grimy water from my face, my voice surprisingly steady. I won't bother them, because, as it turns out, I was never in love with Khloe. The single sentence silenced the entire room. Just as they were about to unleash a new round of mockery, the door swung open. Khloe walked back in. Seeing the shattered glass on the floor and me, drenched from head to toe, she frowned. What are you all doing? No one expected her to come back, and they certainly didn't expect her to get angry on my behalf. After a long moment, someone stammered out an excuse. Khloe, We were just messing with your little puppy here. This is how you mess around? Khloe's voice was ice. He may be a dog, but he's my dog. No one else gets to kick him around. Her eyes swept over the guilty faces. Whoever did this, slap yourselves. Now, don't make me do it. This time, it was my turn to be stunned. Khloe, showing a shred of decency, being nice to me? Amidst the sharp, echoing sound of slaps, Khloe wrapped her own scarf around my shoulders and led me out of the room. I was utterly bewildered. We had just stepped into the hallway when her phone rang. It was Leo. Khloe, where did you go? I'm a little nervous here at the hospital by myself. Can you come back and stay with me? His voice, low and gentle, drifted from the phone. Khloe hesitated, then looked at me. Ethan, can you get to a doctor by yourself? I looked down at my soaked clothes and my scraped palm. I actually smiled. Of course. The 4 words were like a get-out-of-jail-free card for Khloe. She let out a huge sigh of relief. Okay, then you can just head home on your own. I nodded. Okay, I didn't see a doctor. I went home. The first thing I did was call the private investigator I'd hired to track down the organ donor information. Mr. Cole, I'm so sorry. We made a mistake in the initial report. On the day of the accident, it wasn't just Khloe Vance. Her best friend, Julia Rivers, was also in a crash. He continued, his voice full of apology. After the heart surgery, her family moved to New York. They haven't been back in years. I was silent for a long time before I finally spoke. I see. Please, find her exact location for me. As soon as you find her, I added, my voice tight with urgency, book me the next flight. I want to see her as soon as possible. I've never had a strong constitution, and today's ordeal sent my system into a complete crash. I collapsed at home, sick with a fever. I don't know how long I was unconscious, but in my delirium, I felt a warm hand on my forehead. It felt just like Anna Claire. My Anna Claire. Whenever I was sick, she would stay up all night, patiently tending to me, coaxing me to take my medicine. The memory brought tears to my eyes, and they streamed down my face. I gripped the hand tightly, mumbling her name. Anna Claire. The next second, a sharp pain shot through my wrist. I forced my eyes open and met Khloe's furious gaze. Ethan Cole, who is that woman you were calling for? The disappointment was a physical blow. I looked away. An old friend. I was just thinking about when we were kids. Her eyes were still filled with suspicion, but she chose to believe me. She knew nothing about my past relationships, had no idea why I'd really pursued her, but she had seen my devotion these past few years, and she was convinced that a pathetic doormat like me could never have feelings for anyone else. What are you doing in my apartment? I asked. Khloe's expression tightened. You told me the passcode once. I called you a bunch of times and you didn't answer, so I let myself in. She took a breath. Our families are having dinner tonight. I need you to... Don't worry, I cut her off. I know what I have to do. I knew exactly why she was here, why she was showering me with this tiny crumb of kindness. She needed me to play the part of the dutiful fiancé for one more night. All these years, I'd mistaken her for someone else. I owed her this one last performance as compensation for my own mistake. I pushed myself up, my body aching, and put on a tailored suit. With my tie knotted perfectly, I looked surprisingly put together. Khloe had already gone downstairs to wait in the car. When I opened the passenger door, a cloying mix of her perfume and some other strange, sickly sweet scent hit me. It turned my stomach. Leo Sterling was sitting in the front seat. He smiled at me. Khloe said that for such an important occasion, she wanted to bring the person she really loves. You don't mind, do you, Mr. Cole? Isn't this just a dinner for our 2 families? I asked, my voice flat. Khloe glanced at me, then looked away. A lot of other people will be there. Leo just got back to the States, and he wants to network, meet some people in our circle. She added, and my parents really like you. You could put in a good word for him. I looked at the 2 of them in the front, so obviously in their own world, and felt nothing. Fine. Making your fiancé advocate for your old flame at a family gala. Only she could come up with something so absurd. It was just more proof that Khloe could never have been the one I loved. When we arrived, it was clear this wasn't an intimate family dinner. The Vances were hosting a massive gala, leveraging my family's name to do it. For years, they had used their connection to coal industries to build partnerships, raking in a fortune. My role tonight was to be their mascot, a symbol that no matter what happened to the Vance family, the Coles would be there to bail them out. Amid the noise, Leo shot me a triumphant smirk. Ethan, you look so bored sitting over there by yourself. Why don't you come play a round of truth or dare with us? Before I could refuse, their whole group had surrounded me. They spun a beer bottle on the table, and of course it landed on me. Leo told me to draw a card from the deck. I flipped it over. There was only one question written on it. Is the person you love most in this room? Do we even need to ask? The answer is so obvious. One of them laughed, and all eyes shifted to Khloe. Yeah, Everyone in this town knows Ethan Cole is Khloe's biggest fan. Of course he loves her the most. They all thought the answer was a foregone conclusion, but I slowly shook my head. No. The table fell silent. Even Khloe, who usually paid me no mind, looked stunned, her expression hardening. For the first time, I had told the actual truth, and in that moment, I felt an incredible sense of release. I was finally done pretending. I set down my glass and stood up to leave. It was time to end this ridiculous, mistaken identity farce. Khloe hurried after me. Ethan, what did you mean back there? I looked at her irritated face, about to speak, but she cut me off. Are you angry because Leo came with us? Or because I didn't take you to the doctor that day at the hospital? Or is it because I lied and said this was just a family dinner? She didn't believe I had told the truth. She thought I was just jealous, throwing a tantrum. None of those things are important enough to make me angry, I said quietly. That only seemed to confirm her suspicions, and some of the tension left her face. You're just being childish. You know I hate it when men act like this. She softened her tone slightly. Don't be mad. I told you I'd go with you to visit your father, and I will. How about tomorrow? Whatever you want, I said dismissively. It wasn't like I'd even be here for her to find tomorrow. I turned to go, but she called out again. Aren't you going to hug me? You used to love listening to my heartbeat. I pushed her hand away. No, I don't need to hear it anymore. Khloe didn't know why, but hearing those words felt different this time. Before, it would have been a relief. Now, a strange and unsettling irritation pricked at her. She spun around and walked away, angry. She expected me to follow, to apologize. But when she looked back, I was already gone. Early the next morning, my P.I. called. Mr. Cole, we have an address. The recipient runs an art gallery in Manhattan. All the details are in the email I just sent. Your flight is also booked. It leaves at 3 p.m. She still loved painting. Of course she did. A thrill of anticipation shot through me. I started packing, ready for the next chapter. I had no idea if the woman who still loved art could ever love me again. Just then, my father called. Ethan, the Vance family is making outrageous demands, using you as leverage. Dad, I interrupted gently. I'm done with the Vances. You can cut off all business support for them, effective immediately. My father sighed softly. Okay, son. There was a pause. Ethan, she's gone, but you still have me. I'll always be here for you. I know. Thanks, Dad. And could you please handle the details of calling off the engagement? As soon as I hung up, there was a frantic knocking at my door. It's terrible. Mr. Cole, Ms. Vance is in the hospital. She has acute gastritis. I opened the door to find Khloe's assistant, her face etched with panic. How is she? I asked calmly. She's been admitted. She went with Mr. Sterling to eat some insanely spicy food, and the pain got so bad she just passed out. The assistant's voice trailed off as she studied my face, realizing I was completely unfazed. She quickly added, They're just good friends, I swear. Nothing improper is going on. I listened silently, then picked up my suitcase and walked past her. She followed me, her confusion growing when she saw I wasn't heading for my car. Mr. Cole, where are you going? Ms. Vance is in the hospital. Aren't you going to take care of her? I'm busy, I said, not looking back. From now on, her problems aren't my problems. What? The assistant stared at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. I ignored her. My father will handle the dissolution of the engagement. As of today, our families have nothing to do with each other. But, Ms. Vance is waiting for you at the hospital. She does have feelings for you, you know. The disbelief on her face was comical. Mr. Cole, are you really giving up? Whether Khloe loved me or not was irrelevant. I had poured my resources and my heart into this for years. Even if it was for the wrong person, the debt was paid. I chuckled. That's right. I'm stepping aside for Leo Sterling. And do me a favor. Tell her I realized I had the wrong person all along. That I've always been in love with someone else. And she should be smart enough to stop bothering me. The thought of finally seeing the real recipient, of hearing Anna Claire's heart beat again, filled me with an almost unbearable excitement. I left the assistant standing there and headed for the airport, on my way to New York without a second thought. Meanwhile, the assistant rushed to the hospital room and stammered out the news. Ms. Vance, Mr. Cole isn't coming. He's already left the country. He said he had the wrong person all these years, and now he's going to find the woman he really loves. He said you should be smart and leave him alone. In the hospital room, Khloe had been feeling a growing sense of dread, an inexplicable panic tightening in her chest. Her friends are teasing her. Khloe, you must really be head over heels for Leo, eating that spicy stuff when your stomach is so sensitive. I think you two are perfect for each other. Just get together already. Totally. Leo stood by her bed, a pleased look in his eyes as he listened to the others. He leaned in conspiratorially. Khloe, maybe we should take this chance and finally be together. Her friends hooped and hollered. But Khloe was silent, her eyes filled with a hollow disappointment. She hadn't seen the one person who was supposed to be by her side, day and night, whenever she was sick. Just then, her assistant burst in, breathlessly announcing that he was gone, that there was someone else. Khloe's voice was sharp. Ethan Cole said that. He didn't even come to see her in the hospital? The nerve. The assistant fidgeted. One of Khloe's friends snickered. Is this some new tactic? Playing hard to get? Pretty clever, I'll give him that. The assistant continued, her voice trembling. Mr. Cole said his father would be handling the details of calling off the engagement. Calling it off? The words hit Khloe like a physical blow. A surge of fury followed. Who said I wanted to call it off with him? That creeping dread intensified. She snatched her phone and sent me a text. You get to this hospital right now and apologize to my face. If you do, I'll pretend this whole thing never happened. She tried to keep her hand steady, but the tremor betrayed her. A second later, a red exclamation point appeared next to the message. He had blocked her. Khloe had never been so thoroughly dismissed in her life. Furious, she tried calling me, over and over, only to find my number was blocked, too. It was in that moment she finally realized it was real. Get out, all of you, she snapped, a wave of unbearable frustration washing over her. Her friends, not wanting to provoke her further, quickly filed out of the room, leaving her alone with Leo. She was about to say something to him when she saw his hesitant, cautious expression, and the anger inside her subsided, replaced by exhaustion. He was, after all, the man she had mooned over for years. She couldn't bring herself to yell at him. She just sighed. Leo, I'm not feeling well. You should go home. And about us. You got the wrong idea. We're just friends. Friends. Leo let out a bitter laugh, his eyes fixed on her. You call us friends? For a friend, you ditch your fiancé? For a friend, you eat yourself sick until you're hospitalized? You're the one who started this, Khloe. And now you're telling me we're just friends? Let me ask you something. Were you ever this good to your fiancé? Under the weight of Leo's questions, the color drained from Khloe's face. Only now did she fully comprehend how cruel she had been. Just then, her phone, which had been silent for far too long, finally rang. She answered it in a flash. Ethan, you finally realized you were wrong, didn't you? An enraged voice exploded from the other end. Khloe, you idiot. How did you screw up the engagement with the Coles? It was her father. How did I end up with such a useless daughter? You get your ass home, right now. So, the assistant was telling the truth. This time, Ethan was really gone. Back at her family's mansion, her father threw a file at her face. This is Ethan Cole's past. It's pretty clear he was never in love with you. As the pages fluttered open, Khloe's face grew darker and darker. The file detailed everything. I had a girlfriend, Anna Claire, and we have been inseparable since we were kids. Everyone saw us as the perfect couple, just one step away from marriage. But she had died in the car crash, protecting me. It was the same day Khloe had her own accident. The reason I had appeared in her life was because I thought Anna Claire's heart had been donated to her. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. No wonder Ethan Cole, heir to a fortune, had shown up out of nowhere and pursued her so relentlessly, willing to be a doormat with no dignity. No wonder, after they got together, his favorite thing was to rest his head on her chest and listen to her heart. He couldn't sleep without it. No wonder he had asked her that strange question about a heart transplant. She finally understood. When we were playing Truth or Dare, I hadn't been lying. I had told the absolute truth. I didn't love her. The dam of her emotions finally broke. She collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. All this time, she thought she was the one in control, the one holding all the cards. She never imagined she was just a substitute. I'd been in the States for over a month. Every day, I came to this gallery, finding new ways to run into her, hoping she would notice. Finally, she did. Here to look at the art again, sir? Julia Rivers asked, her eyes studying me with a gentle curiosity. You've been here every day for over a month, but I get the feeling you're more interested in watching me than the paintings. She said it with a soft, bright smile, as if she were merely commenting on the weather. Caught red-handed, I didn't feel embarrassed. Instead, I leaned into it. That's because you're more beautiful than any painting here. She let out a light laugh. Thank you for the compliment. The way her voice tilted up at the end was captivating. For a second, I was completely lost, just staring at her, seeing a ghost of someone else. The world around me went silent. According to the P.I.S. file, Julia was a prodigy, the kind of kid who aced every test and graduated from Harvard with a dual degree. But after her heart surgery, she had abruptly abandoned her old path and fallen in love with art. It had to be her. Julia waved a hand in front of my face. Let's start over. I'm Julia Rivers. Ethan Cole. I said my name, my heart full of hope. Julia just nodded politely. Nice to meet you. I rushed ahead. Do you have a boyfriend? What do you think of me? Am I your type? Coming from a wealthy family, Julia was used to handsome and charming men, but she'd never encountered someone so blunt. Yet, for some reason, she wasn't put off. She found the man in front of her, endearing, but a second later, she shook her head, her rejection gentle but firm. I don't have a boyfriend, but I'm not looking to date right now. I wasn't discouraged. I knew it wouldn't be that easy. Well, when you are ready to date, can I be the first one you consider? She didn't say yes or no, just looked at me with a playful glint in her eye. Mr. Cole, why me? The question caught me off guard, but I recovered quickly. Because you're exactly my type, I said. You only get one life, and you should spend it with the person you love. My voice trailed off as memories of Anna Claire flooded my mind, a wave of sadness washing over me. If I was with Julia, that would count as being with the one I loved, wouldn't it? Julia watched me for a long moment. But, Mr. Cole, she said softly, I always get the feeling you're looking through me at someone else. Her words hit their mark, and I felt a flush of embarrassment. I made an excuse and fled the gallery. Outside, a light rain began to fall, mixing with the tears streaming down my face. Anna Claire, I whispered into the gray afternoon, I miss you so much. Suddenly, an umbrella appeared over my head. I looked up, and all the emotion drained from my face, replaced by a flat, numb calm. Khloe, she had found me. She stood there, pale and disheveled, her hair a mess. She looked haggard, like she hadn't slept in days. She must have been standing here for a long time. Is my best friend, Julia, your new target? She sneered. After you're done lying to me, you move on to my friends? Does she know you're only here for her heart? I ignored her, acting as if she wasn't there, and started to walk past. As I did, she grabbed my wrist, her grip surprisingly strong. I frowned, prying her fingers off one by one. I even brushed off the spot on my sleeve where she had touched me. What? The gesture stung, and her voice was sharp with pain. Without that heart inside me, am I so disgusting you can't even stand my touch? A sharp pain lanced through her chest. Ethan Cole, she said, her voice trembling. Did you ever love me at all? Never. Back when I first found out Khloe hadn't had the surgery, I'd felt a rush of pure joy. I was finally free from this absurd charade. Now, I felt no desire to consider her feelings, no desire to even speak to her. I thought we settled everything, I said coldly. I don't understand why you followed me all the way here. Khloe's eyes suddenly filled with tears. She looked like a lost puppy, abandoned by its owner. When she spoke, her voice was choked with sobs. Ethan, you spent years scheming to get close to me for a heart. Now that you know you were wrong, you're just throwing me away without a second thought. Her voice cracked. How can you do that? How can you just come and go as you please? After all these years, did you really not feel a single thing for me? I shook my head, a mocking smile on my lips. No, and besides, I continued, my voice hardening, shouldn't you be happy I'm gone? You accuse me of scheming, but didn't you only agree to be with me for my family's connections? To have someone to humiliate? You can't possibly tell me you were actually in love with me. And let's not forget, you were the one who wanted to call off the wedding. I just agreed. Your friends were all there as witnesses. I kept my promise and signed over the project to Leo Sterling. So naturally, the engagement was over. Anyone in the world might have the right to judge me, Khloe, but not you. Not the woman who flaunted her old flame in front of her own fiancé. You have no right. With every word, the color drained further from her face. Her mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. She had no defense. But you chased me for 4 years, she whispered. Was every single second of it a lie? I nodded, not even bothering to offer her a shred of comfort, a polite lie to save face. Khloe, be honest with yourself. Were you ever someone worth loving? My leaving frees you to be with Leo. You both got what you wanted. Shouldn't you be happy? I truly hope you two live a long, happy life together. Just please, stop bothering me. Everyone knew Khloe Vance treated her fiancé like a dog she could summon and dismiss at will. That was why her friends felt so free to hurt me, time and time again. Thank God the person I loved wasn't her. Leo and I are just friends. I don't want to be with him. I understand now. The one I love is you. Her voice rose with desperation. Ethan, wake up. Anna Claire is dead. Even if someone else has her heart, it's not her. I know I was awful to you before, but please, can you give me another chance? This time, I'll do anything you want. She grabbed my arm again, her voice dropping to a broken plea. I'm begging you. Please don't leave me. I had never seen this side of Khloe. Fragile, broken, her voice laced with an insecurity I never knew she possessed. The old Khloe was always so imperious, so confident. I never thought she could be reduced to this. I gave her one last detached look, then turned and walked away. Have some dignity, Khloe. Don't make me lose what little respect I have left for you. Khloe stood in the rain, holding the umbrella for a long, long time. She reached up a trembling hand and touched her chest. There was no scar, no sign she had ever been opened up, but for the first time, it felt completely empty, as if her heart was truly gone. I walked under the awnings of the storefronts until a black Maybach pulled up beside me. The window rolled down. It was Julia. Get in. I smiled and slid into the passenger seat. What's this? Are you finally ready to be my girlfriend? Her gaze was deep, searching. Ethan Cole, how much of what you say is real, and how much is a performance? When it comes to you, it's 100% real. Is that what you told Khloe? I looked at her, surprised. I know, she said calmly. I had you looked into after you showed up at my gallery for a week straight. She met my eyes. You have to understand, I'm not her. If you truly loved her, you would see that we look nothing alike. Besides her heart, we have no other connection. Her voice softened. Seeing you like this, I think it would make Anna Claire very sad. I never expected to hear Anna Claire's name from her lips. The blood drained from my face. Tears streamed down my cheeks, and it took me a long moment to choke out 2 words. I'm sorry. You have nothing to be sorry for. I know you were trying to find a piece of her in me, but I'm not her, and I can never be her. But I can feel it with perfect clarity. She would want you to be happy, not to throw away your dignity again and again, chasing a possibility. Julia drove me back to my apartment. Before I got out, she looked at me, her expression serious. Ethan, I understand you, but I don't agree with what you're doing. I think it's best if we don't see each other again. She paused, her final words landing with a gentle finality. Anna Claire is gone, but Ethan Cole is still alive. Your life is full of possibilities. It's time for you to start a new one. With that, she drove away. I stared after her car, murmuring to the empty street, can I really be okay? After Julia told me not to see her, I respected her wishes. The hardest part of anything is withdrawal. I used to believe that as long as I could find Anna Claire's heart, she would still exist in the world. I thought if I could just stay by her side, we could be like we were before, and she would never truly be gone. But I had forgotten. She died that night, protecting me. There was no one left in the world who would love me enough to die for me. I started to learn how to live for myself. I left New York and returned to the States. I bought a house with a yard and started my own garden. All the things we used to talk about doing, I started doing them one by one. I got the house with a garden. I got a dog and a cat. I went to Iceland to see the northern lights, rode a camel in the desert, and went to the countryside to photograph rolling green hills. Slowly, my life became full again, and even though I could no longer hear her heartbeat, I could still feel her. She was alive in my heart, forever beating in time with mine.